The process has started, according to government. Just how difficult is it to extradite someone, and what are the protocols that need to be followed, especially in a case like this? Immigration attorney Gary Eisenberg is joining us now to give us some insight. Gary, a very good morning to you. Is it difficult to do an extradition kind of process? The government spokesperson Phumla Williams telling us here at eNCA that as soon as they were aware on Saturday that Bushiri and his wife Mary had not reported as they were supposed to under the bail conditions, they started looking for them and the process began. How difficult is it to get them back?
Well, good morning, Dan. In this particular case, it's not up to the South African authorities at all to extradite him. You can request an extradition of Reverend Bushiri from Malawi, but it's up to the Malawian authorities to decide whether they're going to surrender Reverend Bushiri to the South African authorities. It's up to the Malawian authorities in terms of Malawian law to decide what to do, not up to the South African authorities at all. So we will see how the machine of justice starts working in Malawi. And Reverend Bushiri has the right to protect his own interests in terms of whatever extradition legislation Malawi has adopted domestically. Nothing to do with an extradition agreement, although an extradition agreement exists. The South African Development Community Protocol on extradition. So it really depends on what the Malawian authorities are going to decide to do at the end of the day.
The South African government can engage the Malawian authorities to persuade them to hand him over, can't they?
Absolutely. I suppose there's going to be a lot of diplomatic doing and froing between the two authorities because, as you understand, the SADC protocol may oblige the Malawian government to refuse to hand him over at the end of the day. They may have an international obligation not to extradite him, even after all the extradition process has concluded in Malawi itself, which could take a long time. There are various grounds in the SADC protocol which would prevent Malawi from extraditing him. For example, not getting a fair trial in South Africa. And Reverend Bushiri has already invoked in his broadcast on Wednesday evening the possibility of the Malawian government raising those grounds for refusing to hand him over.
Now, the government spokesperson Phumla Williams saying that the government here is working on issuing a warrant of arrest for the couple. That warrant of arrest, where would it be applicable? Could South Africa, for example, ask Malawi or any other country to effect that warrant of arrest?
Yes, absolutely. That's how it really works. The extradition process in Malawi would start off by the Malawian government receiving the extradition request, perhaps for a provisional arrest, pending the full extradition pack being received through diplomatic channels in Malawi, and Reverend Bushiri can be arrested on that warrant of arrest, which is effected in Malawi. That's how the process would begin.
So there's going to be a long process of engagement that needs to happen. Meanwhile, our criminal law justice system remains or must be very embarrassed this morning. I hear we are the laughing stock in parts of Malawi. They're making jokes about South Africa.
Well, if you have a look on more simple terms, meat and potatoes terms, Reverend Bushiri and his wife have been in South Africa since 2009, preaching, setting up businesses, buying aeroplanes, buying properties, setting up an enterprise worth hundreds of millions of rands on apparently fake permanent residence permits. Let's begin there. Let's end the conversation where he simply hands in one set of passports in order to get bail of 200,000 rand and then suddenly crosses the border using passports that the South African government didn't realize that he possessed. So talk about national security and the securitization of our borders and of our sovereignty. This case raises those kinds of very profound questions, and the South African government should be able to answer them sooner than later.
Thank you very much, Gary Eisenberg, immigration attorney. Yes, we look very much embarrassed as a country. We're very embarrassed, and we are becoming the laughing stock. And this Bushiri case should not have played itself out the way it did. Where is our criminal justice system failing the sovereignty of the Republic of South Africa? Mr. President, you and your team need to answer that pretty soon.